And so some of what I want to share with you today is coming from these organizations that have shared their insights, their ideas, their challenges, what they're thinking about, what they see happening as the workplace continues to change. So with that in mind, we can jump right into this concept of what is experience. I know we're talking about employee experience, but before we get to that, we have to start with this broader conversation of what is experience. So a quick show of hands, in the past 12 months, how many people here have spent their time or their money on some sort of a personal experience? All right, pretty much everybody. What about in the past 3 months? Still pretty much everybody. What about in the past 1 month? Still pretty much. Past week? Past 24 hours? A lot of people. A lot of people. So clearly, this concept of experience is something that we care about and we value, right? We spend our own money, we spend our time trying to create experiences for ourselves. And experiences can come in all forms of different shapes and sizes. It can be something like a wedding ceremony. It could be something like a pet. This is my giant Yorkie dog, Athena. It could come from beautiful sceneries and sunsets. Or if you're like me and you're a big sweet tooth kind of guy, it can come from desserts, right? So experiences come from all different types of places, from travel, from massages, from you name it, right? But the point is that we all spend our time and money on attention on creating and building these experiences for ourselves. So clearly it's an important topic. And the reason why this is an important topic and the way that this kind of flows is because experiences create memory, right? They create memories in our minds. So what happens is we start off with some kind of an event, something like this conference, right? Some kind of an event that we are a part of. It doesn't actually have to be an event, but you kind of get the idea with where I'm going. And from that event, we go through the experience, we get a feeling, and we get that memory. And the memory is very important because that is what ultimately helps us decide which organizations we want to be a part of, which managers we want to work with, which companies should we go back to, which organizations do we hate and do we not want to be a part of. So this concept of experience is very important because it frames in our mind what we think, not just about the world, but about the organizations that we either choose to be a part of or choose to not be a part of. So what this means is that experience is a very human thing. Right? I mean, we're all humans here, obviously, right? Experience is a very human thing. But if that's the case, then where is the experience in work? And if we agree that experience is a human thing, then we can take this one step further and say, where's the humanity in work? Right? What happened to these human aspects and components of work? Where have they gone? And how do we bring them back? So that's some of what I want to spend my time speaking with you about today. I know there's this constant debate and discussion around robots and automation and the fact that robots and software are going to take jobs away from people. I think the exact opposite is true. I think it's the humans that are taking the jobs away from robots. Now, before you start throwing stuff at me, let me explain.
Do you want to hear something really crazy? 96% of the people who watch videos on this channel are not subscribed. Can you do me a favor and help me change that number by subscribing to this YouTube channel? Thank you very much.
If you look at how our organizations have always been constructed, you look back 100 years, even more than that, they've been designed for robots. Everybody shows up at the same time, they do the same thing, they wear the same clothes, they take breaks at the same time, they leave at the same time, they work at the same projects, right? Everything is linear, everything is process-centric. I mean, you could write these things down as steps, kind of like putting together IKEA furniture, right? That is how we have built our organizations and our jobs, right? That's, to me, sounds like the perfect job for a robot, right? Not for a human. But the only problem is that years ago, we didn't have robots to do these things. So what did? We took people, and we said, do this, right? We don't have a robot to do it. You're the next best thing. Show up 9 to 5. This is your job. Keep the ship running, right? That is what work was about. It was about being a drone. It was about being a robot, being a cog. But today, things are starting to be a little different. Things are starting to change. And work always used to be about utility. Now, this is an area that I'm actively researching and trying to spend more time understanding. So at this point, I actually have a lot of questions as well, but some answers, and I'm going to share some of them with you today. So work used to be primarily about utility. Employee engagement, give me a break. Innovation, you're kidding yourself, right? Health and well-being, you want yoga at work? What are you, nuts? Right? That was, I mean, this is a relatively new phenomenon. If you were to go back 20, 30, 40, 50 years and tell your manager or executive that you wanted to focus on well-being, you'd be fired. Right? What robot cares about well-being? You're a robot, you're a drone. You're not supposed to have feelings. Right? So this is how we've built our organizations, on this concept that work is primarily about utility. And I'll prove it to you. So when doing research for my book on the future of work, I thought it would be interesting to look up a couple synonyms, a couple definitions of words around work that we use every day in our lives. So let's start off with the word manager. I'll give you the definition of the word manager and the actual synonyms that you will find in a dictionary for the word manager. Manager, someone who controls all or part of a company. Synonyms in orange: slave driver, boss, zookeeper, my favorite one. Again, I'm not making this up. This is from the dictionary. So this is our concept of a manager. Right? This is our concept of a manager. It's funny, but it's also a little scary because some people in here are going, yeah, I work for one of those, right? So this is our idea of a manager. Now, what about employee? Employee, a person working for another person or business for pay, cog, servant, slave. Synonyms from the dictionary for the word employee. And the next one, my favorite one, is the word work. Activity in which one exerts strengths or faculties to do or perform something. Daily grind, drudgery, struggle. So what happens when you put these three things together? We're all cogs, working for a slave driver as we go about our daily drudgery. And I don't know about you, but it's no wonder that everybody kind of has this feeling that work sucks. Right? I mean, we have literally, for the past 100 and 150 years, built our organizations on these ideas that employees are expendable, that managers crack the whip, and that work has to be something that sucks. Right? That is how we've built our organizations, on top of these ideas.